Hello, Johnny London here once again, and as you can see I've found my way back to my natural habitat of the canal. I'm just on the sort of western edge of Watford, sort of southwestern edge really, and I'm going to be walking along for a mile or two before I branch off and have an afternoon in the town. So I thought I'd just run through something a little bit different for you. I know I always say that, but anyway, here it is, my top 10 essential-ish items that you should have on a narrowboat. Number 10, a stove. Well, it'll come as absolutely no surprise to you that of course it can get jolly chilly during the winter on a narrowboat, and that winter can be quite a long season actually. You get an extra month each end really for being a few degrees chillier down in the water, and you will need a stove. That's probably the most practical way of heating your boat, and those will be powered either by coal, wood, a combination of both, or in rare occasions diesel. Number 9, a comms mast. Whether your preference is for satellite TV, terrestrial TV, or if you're just trying to pull in a bit of internet, you will probably want something to get those aerials up and out of the murky depths known as the canal. Yes, unfortunately, being in a canal, you're often in a bit of a depression, you're often surrounded by trees, and of course you're that bit lower down, sat in the water there, and every little bit of height on that mast is going to help to improve your signal reception. So I would say that's definitely a must-have item. Number 8, solar. Well, solar panels come in pretty much all shapes and sizes, so you should be able to find something that will suit your boat. I aimed to maximise the amount of solar that I could reasonably get on my roof while still leaving a little bit of room for storage and one or two other things, and that gave me, if I remember, about 1100 watts or 1.1 kilowatts. When the sun's shining, and even on a day like this when it's fairly bright, there's no better way to get yourself a bit of extra power. Well, if you're wondering what that one was, it's number 7, good handrails. Now, a lot of boats, when they're made, I think what they do, it's probably easier to leave a bit of extra metal on the side that forms a sort of top edge, and then they sort of fold around or add something to it or what have you, and you end up with a kind of angle ironed sort of handrail on the very edge of the boat. It's quite well concealed, and it's good for making the water run off only in places where you want it to, so you don't have to have those little sort of water guards individually over your windows. But they're not really that good for hanging on to when you really need them, and I've been saved several times by having those proper round tubular handrails on my boat that you can really grab hold of at just the right moment. These flower pots might not be essential, but they're jolly nice to have. Just watch out for them when you're cruising. I am, of course, not mentioning all the really obvious things like windlasses and ropes, slightly semi-obvious things such as extra diesel cans and that. I mean, it's a long old list really. I just thought I'd put together these few things really just for a bit of amusement and for some food for thought. Someone just went past on a motorcycle, an electric motorcycle, riding it along here. I mean, literally, what are the rules anymore? Done one or two of these in my time. In fact, this particular one. Do you know, I've just realised exactly where I am now, and this is like the start of a walk I did. It's over on my other channel actually, Croxley Green Circular, or Croxley to Rickmansworth, something like that. Look, nice video and plenty of boats.
Yep.
Number 6, a fridge freezer. There, see, I've done a bit of a twist on it. You weren't expecting that, were you? Now, I know everybody's pretty much got a fridge aboard these days. You want to pull a cold one out when you want to, and that's just how it is, isn't it? But if you want to stay in one nice sort of remote location for a week, or maybe even a couple of weeks, the things you're going to need, apart from lots of water and lots of diesel and all that kind of stuff, is lots of food and provisions, isn't it? And the freezer really does sort of broaden your scope of what you can carry. You can get those frozen pizzas in, you can get frozen peas, Yorkshires, all that kind of good stuff, and it just adds another dimension and a little bit more quality to the boating lifestyle. I bet he's got one. Number 5, a trolley. You should probably always aim to have the best and biggest trolley that you can possibly afford to give space to. You will need one, that's a definite. How else are you going to get things from your car all the way down the towpath, which can be quite a long way, to your boat? I had several trolleys in my time, all of which broke, and in the end I settled on one of those sack trolleys. Not ideal, but it doesn't take up too much space. You might want to consider the sort of tyres that don't deflate as well, solid tyres. That was the sort of thing I had. Number 4, extra water storage. Well, extra water containers are something that you should definitely consider. They can come in all shapes and sizes, of course, and you do see quite a lot of those garden water butt ones being used. That will give you a serious amount of extra water. You can also use the sort of 25 litre ones, those sort of white nylon plastic ones. I had a few of those, and I could get 2 of them just perfectly on my trolley at any one time, which adds another dimension as to how you can get water to your boat if you're near a water point but you don't want to move. A typical water tank may have 400, 500, 600 litres, and one person can just about eke that out for a fortnight if they're pretty careful. Not batteries, you'll obviously have those, but battery monitoring. Now, battery monitoring really is essential. How on earth are you going to look after your batteries if you don't know how much charge you've got? Basic lead acid batteries, you can just get a voltmeter, sort of just wire one in, it'll tell you how many volts they're sitting at, and you can easily work out how much charge percentage you have from that. There are much more sophisticated systems available, especially when you start moving on to things like lithium, which is something that you definitely would want to consider if you're going to be a full-time liveaboard. Now, while I'm cracking on about sort of luxury items, or more sort of essential luxury items, let's have a think about this. Dishwasher. Now, I had one on my boat. Some people thought I was mad, but my goodness, how useful was that? Apart from the obvious, it had a quick cycle, which you do want, 55 minutes, which got everything absolutely spotless clean, and in that time, well, that's just the right amount of time to run the engine to heat the water as well. So you've done 2 things. You put a bit of charge into the batteries, maybe, not much because the dishwasher is going to use pretty much what you're generating, but you've also got your clean dishes and a nice tank of hot water. Also, they're very economical to run in terms of water, so what's not to like? And of course, a nice radiator there. And last but not least, you should definitely think about central heating. There are a couple of ways that you can power this. One would be off of your stove with a suitable back boiler, but then of course it's only going to work when your stove is working. But it's horses for courses really. On my boat I had a small diesel heater. You can get Webasto or Eberspacher, and they both pretty much do exactly the same thing. A nice way of topping up the heat or taking away the chill on a cold autumn's evening. Well, wouldn't you know it, the rain has set in. I'm going to turn off a little bit further down, scurry along into town and find myself a coffee and a sausage roll. No, not a sausage roll, something a little bit healthier, hopefully. But anyway, I hope this has been an interesting little chat for you, food for thought. And if you've got any ideas about what you think your top 10 items might include, well, do drop them in the comments below. It'd be nice to hear from you. In the meantime, take care. See you soon.